Welcome to Promises. After watching this video, you will be able to define promises, explain the different states of a promise, and describe how to use promises with asynchronous methods. A promise is an object returned by an asynchronous method. The promise has three states, which are pending, resolved, and rejected. Promises are most useful for Application Programming Interface or API requests, input-output or I/O operations, and other operations that are time-consuming and can block resources. A method can be defined to return a promise object if you know it is going to take time for execution and thereby block resources. When you call a method that returns a promise object is created. The initial state of the promise is the pending state. It is in this state until the operation is complete, or some error has caused the operation to abort. When the operation is complete, the promise is said to be resolved. When there is an error, the promise is said to be rejected. You can also create a promise object if you know that the operations you are going to perform could be blocking. In this example, meth call is a promise which is fulfilled or rejected depending on whether the file is successfully read or not. You can see on the output screen that the content of the file is read if the file name is valid and displayed. In this case, the promise is resolved. If the file name is invalid, the promise is rejected and the error message is displayed. You know that Hypertext Transfer Protocol, or HTTP, requests when called synchronously can be blocking. There are many packages in the Node.js ecosystem that wrap promises around HTTP requests. The Axios package is one such package to handle HTTP requests. It returns a promise object. The status of the promise until it hears back from the Uniform Resource Locator or URL requested is pending. The promise object has a then method which is called after the promise is fulfilled. The catch is executed if the promise is rejected. In this example, you first pass a valid URL. It creates a pending promise. Once the promise is fulfilled, the response is logged on the console. Next, you pass an invalid URL. This also creates a promise object which is pending. This promise will be rejected. This state is being dealt with in the catch block. You can see the console log for the resolve and reject. In this video, you learned that a promise is an object that is returned by an asynchronous method. The initial state of the promise object is the pending state. The Axios package is used in Node.js to handle HTTP requests. And you can create a promise if you know that the operations could be blocking.